I'm not really that great with real estate, I'll be honest with you, Jathu, and that's why I wanted to connect with you and start the process. You were doing a lot of due diligence with a lot of properties and you had a lot of knowledge with real estate, and I think that was very tempting for me. I thought I needed someone to lead me into the real estate market when I had a tight sort of budget behind potential borrowing capacity and all that. Because I had the trust in yourself with the team you had for real estate, pre-purchase inspection, I felt the inspection itself I could trust and was very detailed.
Hello everyone, and today I've got a client with me here, someone who's recently purchased a property. So I'm going to speak to him to see what his experience was working with me. Welcome, Siva.
Thank you, Jathu.
Yeah, Siva, why don't you start off by introducing yourself, about what you do, who you are. Yeah, just let the audience know.
So I'm a general practitioner in Sydney, a family doc. So I've been doing general medicine for like 20 years. So I'm not really that great with real estate, I'll be honest with you, Jathu, and that's why I wanted to sort of, connect with you and start the process, so as to speak. So it was really good to sort of have this connection started and look forward to more connections.
Okay, and Siva, so could you just explain, like, how did we get connected? How did that happen?
So from memory, it was through LinkedIn. So I think I looked at your profile on LinkedIn and you had sent me a connection request. And I thought, without hesitation, why not? Because it was the background for what I saw with yourself was you were doing a lot of due diligence with a lot of properties and you had a lot of knowledge with real estate. And I think that was very tempting for me, especially for me being very naive with general practice. I'm naive to real estate. More knowing about GP work.
Correct.
I really wanted your expertise, and through LinkedIn we connected, and then from there on was a process of momentum thereafter.
Yeah, sure. So could you talk about like what your fears were, like what were you worried about when purchasing a property, and just open up if you can a bit about that.
Yeah, so because I didn't have much knowledge of real estate and my budget was really tight, and with the Australian real estate being very expensive and with the banks being very stringent with giving loans out, especially myself, I've got lots of dependents. So I really was very afraid, and I guess I felt there was a lot of barrier to buying property in Australia, particularly with post-COVID. And I really felt that I needed someone who had that knowledge of the real estate market right throughout Australia for me to feel comfortable being able to engage back into the real estate market. And I thought that was the main attractive feature. Plus, I didn't want to get a loan. Being a physician, even though loans can come in fairly easily, I felt that because I had a lot of dependents, I had to have a tight budget. And a tight budget made me more apprehensive about, getting into real estate. And that's why I thought I needed someone to lead me into the real estate market when I had a tight sort of budget behind potential borrowing capacity and all that. So literally I came to you recently with 600,000 or less I had to buy, and I'm thinking, where in Australia can I buy something for that price?
Yeah. Okay, cool. And so you've decided to buy the property. So when you started, Siva, what were your requirements? What were you looking for in that investment property? And how did you feel that I met those requirements?
Yeah, so I was after short-term sort of gain. I wasn't after anything to keep property for 5, 10, 15 years. It was more, given my financial situation at the moment, I was more looking at what can I do in the next 2 years to get potentially some equity in real estate. And I approached yourself with the markets in Australia, and we were looking at regional Queensland, for example, and you nailed it in terms of if you're really looking for short-term gains, these are the property markets I would be looking at. And you were very upfront, and your expectations, the way you expressed yourself and the way you said, keep your expectations at this, there'll be a bidding war. If it's up to 600,000 or less, these are the markets. If you're looking for, a budget of that plus short-term gain. So you were pretty clear-cut and pretty forthright in which markets I could invest in for my situation at that point. So I think that was really good. I really liked that approach you had. It said, hey, what are you looking for? What is your goal of doing this? There should be always a goal of doing any of this. So, and I felt you addressed that goal pretty well there, so that, and I can say this after having bought that property for less than 600,000 with your guidance,
Yeah, definitely. So I think the discussion was around, okay, I want to get short-term growth. And then so I went through markets, if you buy here, you're going to get short-term growth. If you buy here, these are cooler markets, but the growth is going to come at a later point of time. And you are after that short-term growth. So we narrowed down to those markets.
Yeah.
So Siva, could you just talk a bit more about, the due diligence process involved with buying the property? How did you, did that meet your expectations? How did you find that overall?
Absolutely, because I was really, for me, as I said, I was pretty naive to real estate, and this was I was looking for investment property, and I also wanted someone to do the hard work for me, because my focus is in dealing with patients and helping them.
Yeah.
So I really felt that I needed someone who knew the ins and outs of Australian real estate, especially in this context, to invest, get a rental income, set up a rental agency to look after my tenants, get someone in to sort of occupy the premises very quickly, so I'm not out of pocket. So I felt that you address my needs pretty well, and not only well, very efficiently. So WhatsApp, I'll text you pretty quick, you're back onto it. So I felt a lot of relief from that, because I was thinking, okay, how are we going to get the rental income? What's the real estate? Are they really good? And the other critical thing, especially with climate change affecting everyone, my biggest question to you was, hey, is it a flood zone investment? Is it a bushfire? God knows what can happen. So you were very strict in saying, hey, I know I've done my due diligence, and you did, and we ended up buying in a place that didn't end up being flooded. But again, you did that due diligence to take the pressure off me, which I felt was very critical, because this is a hard-earned money we're putting into a property. We really need to research that property well. And I didn't have to do that because you did all that hard work.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's great. So yeah, part of that process is doing that due diligence, flood zones, bushfire zones. And how did you feel about that inspection that was done pre-purchase and addressing all your concerns? Did you think that was useful, like a pre-purchase inspection?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, again, I wasn't physically there to go for the inspection with the inspector, but it was so detailed that, because I had the trust in yourself with the team you had for real estate, pre-purchase inspection, I felt the inspection itself I could trust, and was very detailed. There was a lot of comments on the inspection I had to do a double check, but you put my mind at ease to say, look, this is what we have to do when we're buying property. You have to be overcautious. And I felt that is the great approach to buying real estate, especially for anyone. You don't want to really just go and buy something without doing your due diligence with pre-inspection, getting the right pest control people, or the pest surveyors, or the landscape building infrastructure, making sure there's no damage. And also with this legal team, you were very helpful getting me the right legal team. And the surveyor, the conveyancer was very efficient, very obsessive compulsive, which is what we want when we're buying property. And thanks to you, Jathu, you actually linked me on to the right people.
Oh yeah, no worries at all. So I enjoyed working with you as well, Siva, because you were very cooperative. You were willing to listen to suggestions. You were very open-minded. So the process was very enjoyable for me too. And so finally, just to wrap things up, like, who do you think would really benefit from my service? Like, from what you've seen, like, which type of people are going to benefit from this?
I think pretty much most people would benefit, to be honest, because at the end of the day, I feel benefiting from real estate is you would benefit if you knew someone who would do their due diligence, look at the background history, know what markets to sort of put your money in, how to invest. And I thought you gave the options of both short-term and long-term. So really, that's what we're looking for in real estate. We need to know what are we doing it for? And I felt you had the right markets for the right situation. So yes, it'll help for people who don't have much knowledge of real estate like myself to liaise with someone like yourself, but I also feel it'll help people who've done real estate before to get some opinion from someone like you, because I think it's, as you said, keeping an open mind for real estate is important. And I felt that you allowed me to keep my open mind for that as well, within my budgetary constraints as well. So I feel really anyone would benefit from your service, Jathu. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you again hopefully when I save up a bit more for next time, you know?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. So thank you so much, Siva, for that kind feedback. I really appreciate it. And hopefully, let's work together again for the next property. So it was really nice working with you.
Welcome. All the best. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.